Attack the enemy! Victory is ours!
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to bring you my first good battle in the Object 906 today, which is a battle that happened on 26 October. I've probably had good battles in the Object 906 before, I just never really kept them or recorded them. So, I was playing at pretty high tier. I had my 8.7 lineup with my T55A in, and I really just... I've come to find that the T55A just isn't fast enough on this map anymore, really, to make it to the first capture point without getting nailed by about 15 different KPZ-70s or MBT-70s, depending on what the teamwork is. So in this case, it would be MBT-70s, because the KPZ-70s are on my team. So I went with the Object 906, trying to get a speed boost as much as possible to make it to the A point and capture, and then I figured if nothing else, I'll have enough points to bring in my T55A or my T62 or maybe my T10 or maybe the Object 120 something. I'd have enough points if I could make it to the capture. And like I said, for the team, we really don't need like everybody to go up into the hills and camp, which of course is what the bulk of the team headed for. I don't mind it if they can keep the enemy team off of the capture points, but if they all go up to that first little spot and stop there, the enemy is just going to move across the entire map. So 1 or 2, 3, 4 people up there maybe, not terrible, but there's like 10 of us on the team, and 7 are going up into the hills to camp. 70% of the team. Anyway, I went in for the A point and wasn't capturing it naturally, so somebody here is inside the A point, whoever capped it. I did wait and hold until they got the point finished capturing so I could move in so they wouldn't have a warning that I was in there by them stopping capping. You can see him just crest up behind the middle of the rocks there, so I know where he is now, and I'm trying to back up to get to a position where I can shoot him. I did have somebody else coming in to help me at the A point, and we did have now 2 people going in for the B point, so it's not as bad as it was. So I'm just holding here at the A point. Now, there's a few spots in this video where the audio is going to mute out. That's just because I was in a TeamSpeak and I didn't realize I had it open and unmuted. So somebody popped in and talked to me a couple times, so I just muted out the parts where they talked, just because it's not relevant to the video, so that's all. So there's a few spots where it was just somebody popping in, saying hi, asking what I was up to. I told them what I was doing, and they said, okay, I'll be here for a while. And I wasn't even paying attention that it was open in TeamSpeak, and it was going to end up getting recorded from Shadowplay, but it ended up not being a big deal. It's not too much. But anyway, if you notice the muted out spots, that's what it is. So I started capturing the A point here. The guy starts taking hits from our team who have moved up in the hills to a position where they actually can shoot at people, so it's not all bad that they're up there. And we're taking the A point away now, although they've taken the C point. So they are still bleeding tickets, but the ticket bleed isn't too fast yet. So the guy on the other side of the rocks from me has been knocked out, and there's a leopard over there who went out and took him out, and then came in and joined me at the A point for the capture, so that was good. And there was a chieftain, who turned out to be a Chieftain Mark 10 that I just randomly saw come over the top of the hill, and I got a nice, easy shot into his lower front plate, thankfully, because I would not have probably had time to reload with Heat FS and get a actual damaging shot to him if that hadn't gone through. So luckily that shot didn't miss. And then I had two chances in this map where I got saved by my team, where this battle could have ended real quickly and not been video-worthy or the first good battle in the Object 906. This is one of them. They're actually both against M551s. So I took a pretty good hit there. He knocked out my breach as soon as I fired, which would have killed him if I'd have been able to get the shot off, but thankfully he didn't do fatal damage to me somehow, which I feel like he should have with a shillelagh. Should have destroyed an Object 906 through and through, but it didn't. So while I repaired my blown out barrel because I clicked right after he hit me, we almost clicked simultaneously, but obviously not quite. I was a little bit behind. But saved by the team, which honestly, if he'd have been reloading a Shillelagh missile, I probably would have won the reload and repair race anyway before he would have ever gotten another Shillelagh loaded currently with the Sheridan's Shillelagh reload. So somebody's getting marked over to the west of A, in between A and B, and I'm going to head that way and see what I can find. The team has spread out of the hills a bit, so thankfully they didn't just all 6 or 7 people just stood up there the whole time, because I don't think this battle would have gone terribly well if that had been the way of things. So I'm moving over this way. I'm debating stopping and loading up an extra crew member here, but I know somebody's being spotted over here, so I was just about to stop just short inside the edge of the cap circle here and grab me up a new conscript, and realized if he comes around the corner here, I can't move while I'm grabbing a dude. So I decided I'll come back for the guy. It's a Falcon. I now know it's a Falcon, and I realize, okay, I'm just going to go for the Falcon and shoot him. I should be able to kill him in one shot with my APC-BC rounds. But if he comes around here and hits me, it's not going to matter if I have 2 crew members, 3 crew members, or 6 crew members in an Object 906. He's just going to chop me into little tiny Falcony meat bits. And that's going to be the end of it for the 906. So I'm trying to sneak around him here and stalk up and find him. I know he's on the other side of one of these buildings. And I'm trying to just sneak up sneakily and give him a little pop to the side. Still not in sight, still not in sight, and then clearly he was just around this last building here to my right as he was just wiped out. Now, if you heard the Falcon fire again there, it's not a ghost in the shell or anything. It's another Falcon who's back around here on the other side of these rocks to B, and I'm predicting he's going to be hiding in that same spot. And I fired some artillery to hopefully flush him out, or at least throw a whole bunch of dirt up in front of him and give me time to move around here and get a shot at him. And it actually worked out, and he got flushed out. Possibly by my artillery, possibly not by my artillery, but the end result is he drove out in front of me and I was able to blast him. And then not get destroyed by his 30mm guns. And almost get a good shot at this F2H2 that flew over. I probably would have had a decent shot at him if I'd taken time to aim. But I've found in the past that every time I take a moment to aim at these guys, right as I get lined up on them, they turn around and go the other way. Or they'll make a maneuver and then the shot is worthless. So I usually just fire a third-person shot and just hopefully it scares them. I did spot an M551 there, as you saw, and got a shot at him. It was just a little low. And then I started getting strafed by the F2H2, which thankfully he didn't have any sort of 20mm cannons that could do serious damage to me. And then the Royal Air Force joined in. But thankfully he didn't spot me either, because he probably would have made very short work of me, just like a Falcon would have. Not my best aimed anti-aircraft shot there, but hopefully he saw it and realized he was getting shot at, and it made him think a little bit. I did take a little bit of damage to the engine and the transmission there from that F2H2, but nothing that really stopped me or significantly slowed me down, so went back to try and relocate our friend in the M551 there, and then realized that the chieftain that just killed our Leopard was over at the A point, and I might have to go deal with him. So I'm kind of holding here where I can still get a shot at the M551, who thankfully just shot and missed me. I got a hit on him that didn't do a whole lot, but at least I know the range now. And more importantly, it marked him on the map, which gave me the opportunity to put some artillery up near him. So I did that while I could move myself into position, and then the chieftain starts capturing the A point. I'm going to let the chieftain take the A point for now, and I'm just going to hold aim on the M551 up there and wait for him to come out and peek around all the dirt that I'm throwing up from my artillery. I fired a shot hoping that it would draw him out. Kind of like bait, hey, I fired, you should get a chance to shoot at me, and either it worked or he just decided that he was done with his reload. Either way, I picked him off with the shot there, and then diverted my attention over to the chieftain capturing A. who just took out our IT-1, who was just to the east of A. So now I know for sure it is, in fact, that chieftain. I had suspected it was. And I'm moving in to see what I can do about it and at least mark him, because I didn't figure I was going to have too much luck. But if you can catch a chieftain in the side or in the front, the lower front plate, you can kill him really easily with Soviet 85 mils. Now, I don't know if he saw me here, if he was looking a different direction and his turret was just catching up. But he's got his gun pointed right at me, and he drives right up to where I am. So I think he might have seen me coming and may have looked over toward... his turret may have been looking towards our spawn, but I don't think the actual driver was, because he came right up to where I was and stopped, and he shouldn't have been able to hear me. And I was debating, do I shoot him in his track? And then he pulled forward and thankfully gave me the shot I was looking for with the right angle, and I was able to pop him there and get right back into the cap again. So this battle is going light years better than I expected in the Object 906 in a full-up 9.0 battle, but when you can use terrain and cover and buildings and stuff to get around and stay out of sight of the enemy at the capture point, you can kind of do pretty well. So I fully expected a retaliatory strike from air here from the guy, either of the two guys I had just killed, the M551 or the chieftain, particularly because I had killed at least one of them multiple times. Also, if you noticed, my ammo when I shot that chieftain was my last APC-BC shell, and I have my ammo set, well, had my ammo set, I have since fixed it. Had my ammo set so that the HE shell that I carry in case I run into soft SPAA vehicles was my second ammo slot. I have since changed that to be the third. I still do carry one just in case. Soft targets are something I want to blast with HE. And I moved my heat rounds to the number 2 slot, so if I fire my APC-BC shells empty, I at least reload by default with heat rounds instead of an HE round. So I held up here for a little bit, just waiting to see if anything was going to develop. And I'm looking at the mini-map, thinking to myself, we got 2 guys up in the hills and 2 SPA behind me, along with myself at A. Now would be a fantastic time. If someone was going to do it, now would be a great time to move in and capture the C point from the enemy team. They could, honestly, they could drive from their western spawn straight north and drive right up to the C point, and we would never know. Or if they were over near the B point, they could turn and divert off to the C point, knowing that we had enemies near B, and make it there, and we wouldn't really be able to stop them. So 2 of our planes got knocked, or rather 2 of their planes got knocked down by anti-aircraft and one of our planes, so I'm expecting more tanks to respawn. But they've definitely got enough people left in on their team in the game to go and threaten the C point. So I'm going to turn and head myself over towards a little bit closer to B. I can always roll back to A if I need to, but we've got so much friendly presence near A that I don't feel like I need to be there. I finally noticed that I had HE loaded and cleared that out and switched over to back to my APC-BC rounds. And realized just how close I came to disaster with the chieftain. If I'd have had the HE round loaded when he pulled forward, I probably would have scratched the living hell out of his paint job on his fender, and that probably would have been it. And we may have had just enough time for the tank commander to think to himself he was going to recommend the gunner for the Gulag right before the entire Object 906 just melted from a laser 120 mil APDS round. So I'm trucking my way on over to the C point, and lo and behold, what happens? The C point starts getting captured. I should have said something to the team, but I thought, well, if anybody's going to go capture, now is when they're going to do it, but I was just mostly heading over there just to be spread out across the map, across the objectives, and be ready to be the trigger flag in case anybody actually did move into one. So I know the most likely place, and the place that I would be if I was capturing C, would be in that little gap in between the rocks where you can still sit inside the capture point. So that's where I fired my artillery. And lo and behold, I hit him. Just when I was starting to think I wasn't going to hit him, I got a hit on him. Then I got another hit on him. And then the final artillery barrage came in, and I got a critical on him and took out his loader. And I thought, okay, whatever this is, I just slowed his reload down. And then I'm looking at the mini-map, waiting to see what he would be marked as. And right as I look back up, there's an M551 backing out and shooting me. Just as I had looked down at the mini-map. And I'm on cruise control, so my tank, of course, keeps driving right on forward. And now all I had time to do was just call for help and hit my FPE. And thankfully I had taken out his loader, because he's probably got a second missile loading. So it's probably taken him about 2.5 days now to reload. But thankfully a Gepard had come in from behind me and took him out, and I got an assist, and that ended up being the second time that the team completely saved me from an M551. I should have died twice during this battle. But the team saved me and bailed me out, and that ended up giving me 4 kills, 3 caps, an assist, no deaths, and second place on the team. So I've decided, why not call that the first official good battle in the Object 906, because it was pretty good. Not too bad. 6,000 research and 41,000 lions. Not too bad at all. Not quite as good as the next guy down who had 8 kills, but I still outscored him with the captures and the assist and everything, so not bad at all. So that'll do for today. Hope you guys liked this one. Let me know what you thought. Let me know how much you like the Object 906. I like it. I honestly enjoy it. I think it's a lot better than the PT-76, but that'll do it for today. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for stopping by.